At my son's baptism, my SIL snapped, "You're lucky he's too young to know who really raised him." I said nothing. A year later, when she tried to file for emergency guardianship after our separation, I played back the voicemail where she called me a breeder who got lucky. The judge listened, looked at her, and said, "Denied. Permanently." She didn't even look at me on her way out. I still remember what she wore to my son's baptism. That's how burned into my memory that day is. Navy blue dress, gold necklace, heels too high for a church. Mallory, my sister-in-law, always dressed like she was going to be on TV. Always acted like it too. She was the kind of woman who thought she knew best about everything. Parenting, marriage, cleaning products, you name it. If you didn't ask her for advice, she gave it anyway. When I first married Jordan, her brother, I thought maybe she'd chill out once I was official family. Nope. If anything, she doubled down. And once I had our baby, Wyatt, she didn't even pretend anymore. She saw herself as the third parent, or maybe even the second. Let me explain. I had Wyatt after a rough pregnancy and a worse delivery. Emergency C-section. I lost a lot of blood. I was in the hospital for almost a week and couldn't do much after getting home. I needed help. Jordan only had a few days off, and we didn't have money for a nanny. My family's small. My dad's remarried and lives across the country. My mom passed when I was 19. Mallory offered to help. I was in pain. I said yes. Big mistake. At first it was stuff like helping with feedings and rocking him to sleep. But she started showing up without calling. Stayed too long. Criticized everything. Told me I was holding him wrong, burping him wrong, even looking at him wrong. She moved furniture around in the nursery while I was asleep one day. Told me I was cluttering the energy. She started calling herself Auntie Mama. It made me uncomfortable. I told Jordan. He said, "She's just helping. Don't make it weird." He never stood up to her. Not once. I kept swallowing my discomfort. I was tired. Depressed. I had postpartum and barely recognized myself in the mirror. And Mallory? She was always rested, always polished, always ready with a smug look that said, "I got this." You clearly don't. The worst moment came during Wyatt's baptism. We were in this little Lutheran church, not fancy, just family and a few friends. After the ceremony, we were in the church hall eating cookies and finger sandwiches. Jordan was talking to the pastor, and I was holding Wyatt, proud and tired. Mallory walked up behind me. She leaned in and said, real soft, "You're lucky he's too young to know who really raised him." Then she just walked off like she didn't drop a bomb on my chest. I didn't say anything. Not that day. I should have. I wanted to, but I felt weak. I felt like if I opened my mouth, I'd start screaming and never stop. That was the start of everything falling apart. Jordan and I started fighting more. He started staying out late, got secretive. I asked if something was going on. He said I was paranoid, emotional, overwhelmed. A month later, I found texts on his phone. He was seeing someone from work. He didn't even try to deny it. Said he was confused and needed space. He moved out. I was gutted. But I didn't fall apart. I got a lawyer. We separated. There was a temporary custody plan. I had Wyatt on weekdays. Jordan got weekends. That's when Mallory got worse. Every Sunday, she'd post pictures of Wyatt. Snuggle time with my boy. Sunday love with my baby. She never tagged me. Never mentioned me. Just acted like she was the parent. One time, I told Jordan I didn't want her posting those photos. He told me to grow up. I blocked her on everything. Told Jordan to keep her away from Wyatt during his visits. That's when the real war started. Fast forward a year. Wyatt's 2. I'm back at work full-time. He's in daycare. We've got a rhythm. I'm in therapy. Things still hurt, but I'm stable. Then one Thursday night, there's a knock on my door. It's a process server. He hands me papers. Emergency guardianship request. Filed by Mallory Dawson. I stood there in shock. I didn't even read the first page right away. She was trying to take Wyatt from me. Said I was mentally unstable. Said I'd neglected him. That I was unfit. She listed every struggle I'd gone through, the postpartum, the formula feeding, the therapy. She even included screenshots of parenting forums I posted on anonymously. I started shaking. My whole body just vibrated with anger. But I didn't cry. Not this time. I called my lawyer, Grace. She told me we'd go to court in 3 days. Mallory's filing claimed there was an emergency. That Wyatt was in danger. I stayed up the next 2 nights going through everything: photos, messages, videos, trying to find anything to help. That's when I remembered the voicemail. Months ago, after I told her to stop calling herself Mama online, she left a nasty message. I'd saved it out of spite. It was still on my phone. She said, word for word, "Honestly, Natalie, you're just a breeder who got lucky. That kid would have been better off if I'd had him. I am his mother, no matter what your uterus says." I sent it to Grace. Court day came fast. We were in a small hearing room. Mallory showed up dressed like she was on her way to an interview. Sat beside her lawyer, smug as hell. Jordan was there too. On her side. Wouldn't look at me. The judge let her lawyer speak first. They painted me like I was falling apart, said Wyatt wasn't safe with me, that I was erratic and disconnected. Then Grace stood up. Calm. Collected. No theatrics. She handed the judge a transcript of the voicemail. Then she played it. Mallory's voice filled the room. Loud, bitter, cruel. The judge just stared at her when it ended. No one spoke for a long moment. Then he said, "Emergency guardianship is denied. Permanently." He turned to Mallory. "If you attempt anything like this again, I'll consider a restraining order." She didn't say a word. Didn't even glance at me when she left the courtroom. Jordan followed her out. I sat there, heart pounding, not because I was scared anymore, but because I had one. Not out of luck. Out of truth. For a while, things were quiet after the court hearing. Mallory went radio silent. No texts. No online posts. No more surprise visits. Jordan stopped pushing back about custody too. He started picking up Wyatt on time, dropping him off early even. Like something in him shifted. I thought maybe it was over. But people like Mallory don't just go away. They wait. They plot. They find new angles. It was 2 months later when I noticed something strange. Wyatt came back from a weekend visit with Jordan and started calling someone Mama Mal. At first I thought he'd just misheard something, but then he said it again. And again. Like it was normal. Where's Mama Mal? Can I bring this to Mama Mal? My stomach dropped. I called Jordan immediately. Why is Wyatt calling Mallory Mama Mal? He acted clueless. Said maybe she said it once and he picked it up. I told him flat out, if she keeps calling herself that, I will go back to court and file everything we've got again. Don't push me. He got quiet. Said he'd talk to her. But 2 days later, I got a package in the mail. No return address. Inside was a photo album. Every page was pictures of Wyatt. From when he was a baby to now. Some I recognized, some I didn't even know were taken. There were captions under every photo, all written in the same careful handwriting. First smile, Auntie Mama knew it was coming. He always loved my arms best. My baby's first laugh. And on the last page, one line written in red pen, blood means nothing. Love means everything. I almost dropped the whole thing on the floor. I called Grace, my lawyer. She told me to keep it. Save everything. This isn't over, she said. She was right. A week later, daycare called me. Hi, Miss Turner. We had a situation today. A woman came in during pickup and tried to take Wyatt. She said she was his legal guardian. It was Mallory. She didn't get him. Daycare followed protocol, but the director said she was angry, loud, and refused to leave until they threatened to call the cops. I filed a police report. Gave them the court order. showed them the voicemail. They added her name to Wyatt's do not release list. That night, I didn't sleep at all. The next morning, I called Jordan. He didn't answer. So I left a message. If your sister comes near Wyatt again, I'm getting a restraining order, and I will make sure you're included if you keep covering for her. He texted back one line. Don't threaten me. That was it. That's all he said. He was choosing her again. 3 days after the daycare incident, I picked Wyatt up and found a note in his cubby. It was folded and slipped inside his lunchbox. No envelope. Just a piece of lined paper with shaky handwriting. One day you'll thank me for saving you from her. I froze. My hands were shaking so hard, I had to sit down right there on the floor of the daycare. I didn't cry. I just felt this cold, hard pressure in my chest. Like a weight was tightening every muscle in my body. I went straight to the police with a note. They took it seriously this time. One of the officers read it, looked at the history on file, and said, "This is getting close to stalking. You should talk to your lawyer again." So I did. Grace didn't waste time. We're filing for a restraining order today. Against her and your ex, if he keeps enabling this. We filed everything. Photos of the album. Copy of the voicemail again. Screenshot of Jordan's threatening text. The daycare incident. The note. We had a court date in less than a week. But before we even made it to court, something else happened. I got called in for a surprise home visit from CPS. Child Protective Services. They showed up unannounced. A woman named Karen, of all names, knocked at 9 a.m. and said someone had filed a report about emotional neglect and unsafe home environment. My jaw dropped. Are you kidding me? She wasn't. They did a full walkthrough. Took notes. Took pictures. Asked Wyatt questions in the other room. Asked me if I had mental health records. I called Grace in a panic after they left. It's her, isn't it? I asked. Mallory. She sighed. Could be. Or Jordan. Or someone they put up to it. I was shaking with rage. But that visit ended up doing something I didn't expect. It gave me leverage. Because after the social worker left, she called me 2 days later to follow up. Said the report had no basis. Said my home was clean, Wyatt was happy, and there was nothing to worry about. Then she added something. We've seen cases like this before. This isn't about concern for the child. It's about control. Those words stuck in my head. Control. That's what this had always been about. Mallory had tasted power when I was weak and wanted to keep it. She couldn't handle being cut off. She couldn't stand not being needed anymore. But what I didn't know yet, what none of us did, was that she wasn't done. She had one more trick. And it was about to blow everything open. The restraining order hearing came fast. I walked into the courtroom with Grace by my side, holding a folder thick with proof. The photo album, the daycare report, the voicemail, the note. Even a copy of the CPS visit summary that cleared me. Mallory was already there. She wore that same smug expression like she was just waiting for her Emmy. Jordan sat behind her. No lawyer. Just sitting like this wasn't his circus. Like he wasn't married to me for years. Like he hadn't let his sister try to rip our son away from me over and over again. When the judge came in, the room got quiet. He started slow, reading through the documents in front of him. Then he looked at me. Miss Turner, you may speak. I stood. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I told the truth. I talked about Wyatt's baptism. What Mallory said to me. How I stayed quiet when I should have stood up. How she started calling herself Mama. The photo album. The daycare incident. The voicemail. The CPS lie. Then I paused, looked straight at her, and said, You want to be his mother? You want to take my place? Then be honest. Say it out loud. Say it here in front of this judge. She didn't say a word. So I sat down. Grace played the voicemail again. I watched the judge flinch when the words "just a breeder" hit the speakers. He turned to Mallory. I don't think I've ever heard something more cruel or entitled in this courtroom. Mallory tried to speak then. Tried to cry. I was just trying to help the judge cut her off. No, Miss Dawson. You were trying to take. Then he turned to Jordan. And you let it happen. Jordan didn't say a word. Just sat there like a ghost in a button-down shirt. The judge ruled right then. Restraining order granted. 5 years. No contact. No visits. No exceptions. Then he added, and if there's one more report, one more call, one more note, we'll be looking at criminal harassment charges. Mallory broke. She stood up and yelled, "This isn't fair. He loves me. I am his mother." They escorted her out. Jordan followed her again. Like always. I walked out holding Wyatt's daycare art in my hand. A picture of him and me, drawn in messy crayon. Mommy written with a backward Y. But that wasn't the end of it. 3 weeks later, I got a letter from Jordan's lawyer. He was trying to change custody. Full custody to him. I almost laughed. But it wasn't a joke. He claimed I was increasingly hostile and that I was alienating him as a father. He was using my anger as proof that I was unstable. Using Mallory's harassment as a reason he should take Wyatt. I went straight back to court. And this time, I didn't hold back. I showed the judge everything again. Reminded him of the last hearing. Gave him the timeline. The threats. The stalking. The daycare incident. I brought in Wyatt's daycare teacher as a witness. She said flat out, Wyatt never talks about his father. But he's afraid of his aunt. That changed everything. The judge didn't just deny Jordan's request. He reduced his custody. Supervised visits only. No overnight. And Mallory? She wasn't allowed within 500 feet of Wyatt, even during visits. Jordan stormed out of court that day. Said I ruined his life. Maybe I did. But he helped try to ruin mine first. And here's the truth, I wasn't perfect. I stayed quiet when I should have screamed. I let people cross lines because I thought it was polite. I trusted my husband to protect me when he wouldn't even protect our son. But I learned. I stood up. I fought back. I kept the receipts. And I made damn sure the woman who called me a breeder would never come near my child again. Wyatt's safe now. He sleeps through the night. He draws happy faces. He calls me mommy and only me. That's all I ever wanted. And no one, not a bitter sister-in-law, not a coward ex, will take that from me again.